My name is Michael Manns, and I restore cars for a living. Well, I first started in this business as a small kid. My family has always been in the automotive trade. My grandfather went to Detroit in 1924 to learn the automotive trade and came back to this area in the 30s. In 1936, he came to this town and opened up the first shop that could repair an engine, repair the body, do paint work, just all around repair shop. And I loved doing this work. I was first trained as a mechanic, but when I saw the painting and making things pretty, of course, in the 60s and the car show era was starting, I really fell in love with making a car look gorgeous. 10 years ago, I just solely dedicated myself to restoration only. During that time, we had already won a lot of major national awards, and a reputation had started getting out by word of mouth. I really never advertised for the business. I always tell everybody that works with me, this is our advertisement. Every job that leaves out of here has got to cause somebody to talk about it, and that hopefully, that will bring us back something. Well, it's never stopped. I used to love to go to museums and car shows to see cars I'd only seen in history books. One day my son, who now owns the collision shop and runs that, he said, "Dad, you ever stop and think about you work on cars you used to pay to see?" I said, "I never thought about that, but that's the truth." I really thought I would kind of be by myself, a late in life project where I could not be like retired, but do the things I love to do. Well, trying to reach perfection is sometimes can really get on you because it's a challenge sometimes, but the patience you need and the longevity of the job in the collision industry or any kind of repair, it's usually quick and fast, over and done, where these cars, if you do it in a year's time, a full restoration, that's about as fast as you can go. So you learn to not look at the whole car, you learn to look at it in compartmentalized projects. I get this much done, this much done, and as we've continue to have more and more work come in to where I needed more help. What I've done now is, like any good restoration shop, you have people specialize in every type of department. I had a well-rounded education with it all, and I love all of it, but I was able to then have just a specific mechanic, specific upholsterer, specific people with body and paint, and my youngest son is our head painter here. I guess it's still running in the family because I mentioned my oldest son owns a collision shop. Years ago, I did a car for a gentleman, he was called Captain Streckfus. I had done a car for his family down in New Orleans. They had the Bobby Darin Dream car, the Didia 150. Andy Didia designed it, painted by George Barris. I knew that car was right out of that early part of show cars, where cars weren't built to be driven, it was purely for show. And the only time it was driven was Bobby Darin and Sandra Dee took it to the Academy Awards show. It didn't get displayed nationally until it was invited to Meadowbrook, the Concours d'Elegance, and it was invited to Amelia Island Concours d'Elegance, and then in Kansas City, then Houston. So here's a 30-some-odd-year-old restoration making the national rounds right now. It's winning first place everywhere it went. So that's continued to give me rare examples of cars to do. I got to do the very first Chrysler Turbine car ever to be restored. I have to genuinely thank from the bottom of my heart all the customers that have given me these opportunities. Behind every car, there's a person that loves cars. They have to have a passion for this. So it takes that connection for me to do what I really love to do, is create a work of art. And this shop is pretty unique. Like one of my guys that just did this beautiful veneering in this car, I would just assume the customer would go straight to him because he did all that work. And I'm 60 now, so I can't always do the best of everything. I used to like to be proud that I could outperform anybody, but now I've learned to find talent and coach that talent to where, give it more. The person has maybe not the confidence until you give them the opportunity, and then they see the success, and then they just will try something more. If we ever get a car where we can go open up a catalog and buy parts, it's like amazing. Because most time we're dealing with something that you cannot find parts for. If it's a one-of-a-kind car, or there's 10 or 12 built, So you learn ways to make it and figure out a way to do it, but do it most economical, and it's one part to make for one time, so there's no sense really making a sand cast dies. I mean, if you have to, you have to, but most time we find a way to make the part in the most economical way that we can. I always laugh at the guys, though. I tell them, I said, you don't have to worry and nothing to worry about. You just got to be perfect. So you know where your line is. It's just don't worry. It's just got to be perfect. And somebody mentioned I was doing a Pierce arrow one time where I was building all the intricate stuff where the door hinges go, and they said, do you have a lot of exotic woodworking tools? I looked at it and said, this is 1927. What do you think they had? It was a hammer and a chisel and a file and some sandpaper. They didn't have a lot of fancy tools. When we did the turbine cars, they were built in Italy by Ghia. Well, on the back side of all the moldings, you could see every hammer mark that people made. So they only made 50 cars. They made them for Chrysler. They still were made by hand. If you look underneath the hood, I didn't remove the hammer marks. They're all in there because they didn't take them out. They shut the hood, think who's going to look underneath the hood. It's good to leave it. You can see it's the original handiwork. But if it makes it look like you got to explain it every time, like, oh, we didn't do that. That was the original factory. Then you don't want to go through that explanation every time. When these cars go to Pebble Beach or Amelia, wherever, then it's like a college road trip for us. We get to go somewhere, have a little fun, something special, and that is the common thread that is in every one of my guys and me. We're all the kind of people that want to step back and see what they did and be proud of it. Whatever it is brought us to that point. I can pay people, I can teach them skills, and the only thing I can't put in them has to be already in them, and that is that desire to please somebody else and step back and be proud of what you did. That has to be the seed that's in them. My grandfather told me, he said, you don't have to be scared. He said, I'll just tell you one thing. He said, you just be honest and you do the best work you can do and you'll make it. And he said, you'll just always have work. And I've always had work.